and spending a lot of time at night and trying to get stuff caught up. So one of these days we got to get done with our work and think about working on a tractor. And I got a kid that's kind of nervous that sits in the corner in a million pieces. So
yes, I'm sure Colin is definitely probably pretty eager at this point to get back out on the pulling scene. I know you guys have probably been pretty hard at work in the off season, refreshing up, and I know you guys had a pretty successful 2016 campaign with the tractor for the first year out as a light pro.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing the year we had. I'm sure we'll never have another year like that. So everything just kind of fell into place. I mean, an awful lot of luck, that's for sure. So,
no, I mean,
but we'll take it.
Yeah, and you guys really got things going right away with, the first pull that I seen you. I don't know if it was the first pull for you. Oh, no, I think it was. Colin did say it was his first time down the track in Ettrick there after that heavy rain that we got, and I think I just remember him saying how he was so shaky afterwards, and it was quite the ride that he took on that first pass up in Ettrick.
Yeah, it was a pretty tricky track that night. We had a bunch of rain, and it got started late, and I remember Tom Gallett's jumping in the grader up there and peeling a whole bunch of dirt off, and it was pretty slippery, for the first 50 feet, and then all of a sudden it had bite, and Colin kind of laid right into it about the time he got the bite, and I mean, she stood up twice. It actually bent the pads on the wheelie bars that night, but he never let Oliver and had a pretty decent run. So
yeah, and I know you guys had some great success as well. You guys went down to Fort Recovery, Ohio, midsummer as well, and had a great time down there. I know it was a little wet down there too, but you guys had a great fourth place finish out of some of the best light pro stocks in the country.
Yeah, Colin and Randy went down there and pulled, and Friday night they were just about ready. I think there were 4 tractors from hooking, and they got rained out. But then Saturday night, yeah, they had a real good run. There was 29 in the class, and he got in the pull-off with 6 guys and ended up in 4th. And pretty good for never hooking on that track before or pulling on that sled. So we kind of wanted to go down there to see how we stacked up against, some of the best light pros in the country, because it's really a hotbed for them down in that area.
Yeah, but for those that don't know, you guys started out really with your hot farm tractor, and you really worked up on that, and this tractor's really seen quite the progression. I think from where it started to where it is right now, and I don't think a lot of people would probably believe you if you told them where you guys started pulling with this tractor.
Yeah, it was back, I think it was in 07 or 08. We'd pulled farm stock for quite a few years, and things in the farm stock class were getting kind of crazy too. And at that time, I had a 1456, an actual one, with the old 407 in it, and it was hard to compete. And the money I would have had to spend just to compete in the farm class anymore, I just decided, well, that don't make a lot of sense. So we took a couple years off, and then we started in 07 or 08, I believe it was, and then we built this one as a hot farm, and pulled till this last season in the hot farm class. We pulled with Tri-State Pullers for quite a few years, and then we'd come over and run Badger State when we could, and had a lot of success with that too. And then middle of 15, I guess I decided that it was time to make the step up to the light pro class. I had a lot of interest in it, and Colin did too, and we decided to build a new engine for it and buy wide tires, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the difference. I was going to ask, what made you kind of want to go light pro maybe versus maybe the limited pro stock class that's been up and coming as well throughout the with Badger State. I
don't really know. I guess I liked the sound of them. I liked the RPMs. That's one thing I always liked about the hot farms. They always turned a few more RPMs and say like a super farm even did. And that big turbo, it makes a lot more noise.
Yep.
And And, you know, one thing with that smaller motor, you're not swinging all that metal sideways as hard. And I think if they're done right, they might be a little more reliable than a limited pro. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll see down in the future what happens. You know, as we build more horsepower, that might not be true anymore either. So,
yeah, I mean,
technology is fairly young in this class, I believe. So.
No, it's definitely been the class that's been booming. I know down in the Region 2 area, which is like Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky and Illinois, this light pro stock class really took off like wildfire, and now it's really starting to catch on here in Wisconsin and Illinois, or Northern Illinois and Iowa, Minnesota, and what I know it's the first year for Badger State last year, and what's the numbers that you guys are looking at for class wise on a consistent basis with the Badger State tractor pullers that you've heard?
Well, just kind of thinking out. I'm sure we're going to have 6 at least most of the time. Maybe up to 8 depends on who. I've heard other people building, but pretty solid 6 for sure, this coming year.
No, with the additions, and Myers have really come along. They got done with theirs about mid-season with their light pro stock. That will be one to watch out for. And I know there was a lot of still tuning last year for a lot of the competitors that will be coming up, and there was at least 2 or 3 that were still building last season to get ready for the 2017 season that we didn't even get to see last year. So really looking forward to it, and of course, hopefully Mother Nature will be a little bit better to us in Ettrick to kick off the Badger State tractor pulling season this year.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, I hope Mother Nature gets kind of her act together here shortly so we can get our work done first.
That's true.
So
yeah, and
now we're stacking all our work together here, between planting corn, and we've got to be making hay and stuff too.
Yep.
So
yeah, because it's hard to believe we're about 3 weeks away from that first full weekend. So hopefully it'll be like you talked about, Mother Nature maybe being a little bit more on the kinder side and be a little bit more consistent, so you guys can get in the planting and of course haying that first crop around.
Yeah, we can only hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking to earlier on Let's Grow Pulling the Hartmans. They have a 4.1 Limited Pro in southern Indiana, and they were actually planting corn right now, trying to catch up because they had quite a bit of rain spell over the last couple weeks. So they're really catching up down there as well.
Yeah, it sounds like down that area they've really had a lot. I mean, well, even here we've had enough too, but nothing like they've had down that way. So. And it's finally warming up now too. I mean, we've been fairly cool, for the last couple of weeks, and now it's finally starting to warm up and stuff will start to grow. So.
Yeah, last week for Mayhem, it really did feel like almost July out there with it being with the sun shining, with really no clouds, and getting up into that 80-degree mark. It was quite interesting, especially when we had those couple days where maybe it was like 40s or 50s in early May. You didn't know if it was even going to warm up at all.
Yeah, a guy gets impatient that time of year. He wants it to get warm up and get going. So
yeah, especially if you're a puller, because you try to stay ahead of things as much as possible. But I'm sure you know how that goes.
Oh yeah, a couple weeks from now we'll be complaining it's too warm.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have seen your fair share of interesting weather up on the Birkholz stables. Was it last year or a couple years ago when your shed got hit there?
No, that was last summer.
Yeah.
It was the 5th of July. Had some high wind come through, and I had a shed that wasn't even a year old that doors to the west, and it had to get the doors open, and it was full of hay, and it basically pulled all the posts right out of the ground and threw it, and it hit my silo and ended up in my milking barn on the one end and smashed that down. But had a lot of good help. My neighbors were a ton of help, and some contractors were up here the next morning, and within 4 or 5 days we were back milking in the barn, other than it just didn't have a roof on it. And so we milked cows a lot of mornings, a lot of days in the rain, because it seemed to rain a lot last year. But about the 1st of November we had everything put back together, and actually just here Saturday took the last dumpster full of junk out of here, so it's pretty much back to normal around here now. So
yeah, it's definitely a process when you have that type of event happen and really take out quite a big chunk of your operation there for the most part.
Yeah, well, we were lucky, last year too with the Badger State schedule. We had a couple weeks off there. We were thinking about going some other places, and I just told Colin, I said, we better just stay home and try to get caught up here, and that's what we did. So, I could have threw a wrench in everything if that would have happened, right at the points hook. So, but
yeah, and
got lucky there.
If you just want to let everyone know, maybe how what type of milking operation, maybe how big, and then how many acres you guys farm up there in Wilton.
Well, I'm kind of a small farmer compared to anymore now. I milk about 65 cows in a stall barn. And then I raise corn, raise about 300 acres of corn, and I have 400 acres of alfalfa, and then I do custom big square baling also. So.
No, I think it really pays tribute, because you really don't see too many, small farmers, with, less than 100 cows anymore, really, these days. And I think that pays tribute to you guys and, all the operation you do. It's probably not easy if people aren't familiar with the type of landscape that you guys have to farm around as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have real big fields. All my farm is pretty much on contours, a lot of 2-3 acre fields. I think the biggest field I have in my farm is 10 acres. So, and then it's a little different up here, but I guess we've done it that way our whole life. We're used to it, so.
And that's probably really the only way you could probably do it with the type of, the hillsides that you guys are doing it on as well, in this part of the state.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, but it's helped now, with the advent of no-till, cropping and stuff. You're able to, put some row crops in some of them hills where you never could before, and that helps break the cycle, and you can get some corn on a few of them fields for a couple of years, and then rotate them back into alfalfa. So.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna maybe I think Stacy Butson, who's the Badger State announcer, and I think he maybe so the Birkholz is they're actually milking 65 head, at this time, and he said around 300 acres or so on the farming on the crop side of things. So really on the small side of things when it comes to farming, which like I said, you just definitely don't see too often or too much anymore, and I think it really pays tribute to your guys' family and the hard work that you guys do to keep a pulling vehicle together and to run that operation as well. And of course he has to mention, you guys don't like snowmobiling, do you?
Oh, we tend to like that a little bit. Yeah. We, I always said for years that if I had to pick one, snowmobiling or tractor pulling, the tractor would go in a heartbeat. But now I'd probably have to think about it. Colin, I know what his choice would be. So he'd take the tractor. But I've always liked the snowmobile. I mean, snowmobiling is a lot like tractor pulling. The only thing you can get that thrill for hours at a time, where the tractor you only get that thrill for 15 to 20 seconds.
Sure.
So.
And you guys have really great trails too. That definitely helps. And where you guys are from, and of course going up north, I'm sure up in northern Wisconsin and the UP. But you guys do a great job with your local snowmobile club with the trails as well. I know you guys are a big part of that in the off season. Yeah. We got a good group of people up here. A lot of good club members. Snowmobile Trails of Monroe County is a group of 10 snowmobile clubs, and we've had some good leadership over the years, and things have really fallen together. And I'm pretty biased, but I think we probably got some of the best trails in the state, and a lot of hard work from a lot of people. I know for a fact, like this year, we were probably the only one. I think you had to go 150 miles north of us to find anybody that was even open. But
we were just lucky. We were in that little area that we had snow, and we kept, we had the groomers out. And, I'm in charge of the grooming here in Monroe County, and we get those groomers out as soon as we can, and we run and we run and we run, and
yep.
We're getting a pretty good reputation.
Yeah, no, it definitely helps, especially in the off season. Something just to after the polling season, and you got something like that to do, and I do recall that you guys were open quite a bit longer than most of the southern counties here in Wisconsin, for the most part, for those snowmobile trails.
Yeah, I think I seen the other day was going through stuff. We were open, I think, 66 days this year, which was a lot.
Yes.
Compared to a lot of other ones. So
especially in this part of the state, even though we can get a lot of snow, sometimes it really dwindles quite quickly as well, as fast as we get it sometimes.
Yeah. Well, even like this last winter, if we'd have kept, what we had, and plus if all the rain we had would have been snow, we'd have been fine. But I don't know, I think it's climate change. So it seems like the snow line moves a little farther north every year.
Yeah, so. or we just get missed by the snow too. It seems like a good packing snow, and thunder outside shaking the windows here at the Schultz's residence. So yes, it's the time for thunderstorms. That's for sure. Getting in full swing, and so that's what you heard in the background. Those windows didn't look too sturdy there. I'll have to talk to Jason about that. But did you get a chance to actually sit in the seat last season, or did Colin drive?
No, I drove twice.
You got to drive twice?
I actually never did drive it as a light pro.
Oh, okay.
The two times I drove it at 9,500 pounds, I guess, both times, and kind of missed the weight on that one. Of course, we hadn't done it with that kind of horsepower, but it was still quite a ride. I mean, when you bend the throttle over, she's right there now.
quite different than that hot farm where you kind of
it
was a little bit delayed, but I'm sure with that huge turbo you guys have on it, it's just right now. Yeah.
It's a little snappier than the old one, but
no, I definitely have to agree that the light pro stock has become like my favorite class to watch, just like you mentioned, with the sound and the wheel speed, and at 8,500 pounds, you really don't know, depending on the track, if you just miss it by just 25 pounds, you're going to be going for a ride. Yeah,
and I think that's what's going to make the class interesting, too, and it can be a little more of a driver's class and a track reading class more than, basically horsepower. I think a guy that's got 200 horse less can still be real competitive in the class. So
yeah, that's for sure, and I think that's what will make it a fan-friendly class. I think that's what we've seen, even that first night in Ettrick, even with not the best track conditions. I think it really opened up a lot of eyes, because with the lightweight and the horsepower that you guys are creating, it really put on a great show, and it really is anyone's game, and the tractors that you're going to be competing against week out and week in and week out with the Badger State tractor pullers. And I know you guys are going to be hitting some of the other organizations around the state, which makes it nice too that you can cross over to some of the other organizations and hit other polls too.
Yeah. I mean, like last year, we kind of had to do that just to see how we stacked up, and I mean, we had a real good year. I mean, we figured it out. I think we hooked it 18 or 19 times, and our average finish was 2.1. I mean, he does, Ted and Tony do superb work, and then a couple years ago we took it down to Craig Whitaker, and he redone it all, repainted it. Craig does an amazing job on tractors. You see a lot of his work in Badger State, on a lot of the other tractors, and he really takes pride in his work, and it shows. So, and as far as the name, we've thought of names, but we've kind of had a little dissension in the family, can't decide, so it's a lot easier. We'll just leave it the way it is, and we're happy that way, so it'll probably stay that way for a while.
No, absolutely, and just real quickly, Stacy Butts want to know, did you guys farm with International then for equipment?
Oh yeah, yep. My dad always had Internationals, and that's that's all I have here now. I don't have anything real new. I guess I got a 305 Magnum is my biggest and newest tractor. But other than that, yeah, we've always had IH stuff here, and as long as I'm around, that's probably all we'll ever have. So.
Yeah, so we just want to thank you, Doug, for taking some time. I know you've been really busy, and we'll let you go here as the Sound of Thunders rolls in here into Richland Center, and we'll definitely be seeing you guys in a couple weeks, hopefully up in Ettrick, and as we get things going on the Badger State tractor pulling circuit.
Okay, good talking to you, Ryan.
Yeah, best of luck to you guys, and good luck farming as well. Hopefully Mother Nature will be kind to us over here over the next couple weeks for you guys.
Yep, we hope so. Okay, thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Doug.
You bet. Bye.
So that was Doug Birkholz joining us here on the Badger State Tractor Pulling Weekly Show with their light pro stock, the 1456. As we have the Sound of Thunder, I'm Ryan Zolik. We'll be coming back to you next Monday night, of course, with Let's Grow Pulling live on at 7 o'clock Central Time, followed by the Badger State Tractor Pullers Weekly Show, where we'll bring you another Badger State tractor puller to focus on as we get inching ever closer to that first event up in Ettrick, Wisconsin, June 3rd. As well, we'll be down in Leaf River, Wisconsin, so a double booking, double event to kick off the 2017 season once again. Ettrick, Wisconsin, and Leaf River, Illinois, for the Badger State tractor pullers. You can find us online at BSTP.com, bstponline.com, where you can find all the scheduling for the upcoming season. Very busy season once we hit the month of June, where again we start off with Ettrick, Wisconsin at 7 o'clock, and Leaf River, Illinois also kicking off at 11 o'clock. Where both have some great classes lined up, and we'll have more information as we get a little bit closer. So again, for Jason Schultz, I'm Ryan Zolik, and this has been the Badger State Tractor Pulling weekly show, where again we'll be with you once again next week, and I think we'll be talking some 3.0 diesel trucks, so we'll see what we can get on with you, who we can get on with you, and talk some diesel truck pulling and see what's in the world of diesel trucks. So have a great rest of your evening as the Thunder rolls here at Richland Center. I'm Ryan Zoller.